You're talking about how you have 48 Democratic votes right now. The other two have been pressured over the weekend by activists. Joe Manchin had people on kayaks show up to his boat to yell at him. Senator Sinema last night was chased into a restroom. Do you think that those tactics are crossing a line?
I don't think they're appropriate tactics, but it happens to everybody. From the only people it doesn't happen to are people who have Secret Service standing around them. So it's part of the process. Yes, sir.
Just really quickly,
how's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about some left-wing quote-unquote activists who are harassing Kyrsten Sinema of Arizona and also Joe Manchin of West Virginia. Now, before I get into the video of Kyrsten Sinema being chased into a bathroom stall at Arizona State University, and also of the so-called kayaktivist approaching Joe Manchin on his yacht in D.C., let's back up to explain what's happening just so we're on the same page and you have full context. Now, there's a bunch of bills that are kind of floating around in D.C. Well, I guess you would say two main bills, spending bills, right? The first one was the Infrastructure and Jobs Bill, $1.2 trillion. The majority of Republicans are against it. There may be a couple of kind of left-leaning Republicans that would vote for a bill like that. And there's a bunch of moderate Democrats who want it, some normie Democrats who want it. However, the so-called progressive wing, the far leftist Democrats, your Bernie Sanders types, they don't want to vote for it because it doesn't go far enough. It doesn't have things like climate change embedded. It doesn't have a pathway for illegal alien citizenship embedded. It doesn't have a lot of the things that they would want in the bill. So here comes the Build Back Better plan, which is not 1.2 trillion, but 3.5 trillion on the low end. It could be between 3.5 and 5.5 trillion with a T. The far leftist Democrats, they want it. No Republicans want it. But at least two moderate Democrats don't want it, and that's Kyrsten Sinema and Joe Manchin. This is why they're being harassed, because people want them to sign that bill. Now, before I go any further, let's roll the clips. In these clips, you'll see both of the senators being harassed. After we get done watching that, I'll talk about what happened there. Then I give you my 2 cents, my deep detail analysis, and then I wrap it on up with a nice bow on top. So without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
Okay, I'll be back.
Sinema, we want to talk to you real quick. Can we talk to you real quick?
Hi, actually, I am heading out.
But right now is a real moment that our people need in order for us to be able to talk about what's really happening. We need a Build Back Better plan right now.
We knocked on doors. We need solutions. The Build Back Better plan has the solutions that we need.
We knocked on doors for you to get you elected, and just how we got you elected, we can get you out of office if you don't support what you promised us.
We need 7 million citizenship for 7 million. We need the Build Back Better plan right now.
My name is Blanca. I was brought here to the United States when I was 3 years old. And in 2010, my grandparents both got deported because of SB 1070. And I'm here because I definitely believe that we need a pathway to citizenship. My grandfather passed away 2 weeks ago, and I was not able to go to Mexico and visit him because there is no pathway to citizenship. And if we have the opportunity to pass it right now, then we need to do it, because there's millions of undocumented people just like me who share the same story or even worse things that happen to them because of SB 1070 and because of anti-immigrant legislation. And this is the opportunity to pass it right now, and we need to hold you accountable to what you told us, what you promised us that you were going to pass when we knocked on doors for you. It's not right.
I'm a survivor of human trafficking, and it's because of the lack of worker protections that we don't have in the gig economy. I need you to stand by workers. Lots of people who are like me who became homeless and
let me talk if you can. Where are y'all from? Anybody from West Virginia? We have
Yes.
any West Virginians?
We have a lot of West Virginians.
God bless you all. But gang, we're working hard. We really are. We're going to continue to in good faith. We want to get a good bill that's a balanced bill, that's well done. And I know it won't be enough for some, and it'll be too much for others. In West Virginia, you know, West Virginia is a little bit different than it used to be.
There's a lot of poverty. What are you going to do for the poor in West Virginia?
We're going to be working everything we can to create good opportunities.
And we need to tax the rich.
Well, I agree with that. I definitely agree. That's the one number thing we should be doing, is fixing the tax code so everybody pays their fair share. We should be also negotiating for lower drug prices. We should be doing all these things.
They need that. Hold pharma accountable.
I agree with you 1,000%. We're all on the same page, gang. We really are.
If we can expand Medicare, adding dental, vision, and hearing coverage to Medicare, that's a real opportunity that we can do.
Well, we have, here, let me just explain on that one. We will get to that eventually, but right now we can't even take care of it. It's going to go broke in 2026. Let us fix and repair that
first. That's not true. Tax the rich.
We're taxing the rich. I agree. We're going to make the rich and the famous pay.
A Pentagon budget of $788 billion. No, and that over 10 years is $6 trillion, right? $6 trillion. And we're talking about
how much do you think that we spend every year on non-discretionary, basically non-defense?
not
just
enough.
as much.
Usually not enough.
Do you know we pay? Let me just give you all this.
But I'm just saying we can afford. If we can afford
Let me
this.
just tell you. Let me give you one little bit of information. Okay, so
wait, I got one little bit of information for you. The Republicans are likely to take over the Senate. We don't. This is like this is our one chance right now to pass the legislation.
If we don't do it right, do you think they won't repeal it as soon as they take over?
If you don't pass this, we're gonna.
Yeah, they're not going to pass things like this for the people. They're not. This is our chance. We can't wait.
All right, so you saw that, you heard that. Now, this is to be expected from the left, 1,000%. Because first of all, let's just address the elephant in the room, shall we? We've seen some of these so-called activists, protesters, whatever they want to call themselves, in action before. Not necessarily the very same people that were out there, the very same individuals by name. Not necessarily that, but we've seen things like this, you know, important situations, elections and big votes and whatnot. We see the activists come out. We see the protesters come out in full force. And you got to ask yourself, is this a grassroots group? Did they just happen to show up right here on the kayak to go to Joe Manchin's almost heaven, West Virginia yacht on the Potomac in D.C.? Did they do that just by happenstance, or was it organized? Now, if you have organization, is there funding? Who's funding it? How much funding was sent toward this particular thing? What's going on? All right, that's the question you got to ask yourself. And I feel like there's most certainly organization, there's most certainly funding, and it's to get this Build Back Better plan signed. If you're going to spend between $3.5 and $5.5 trillion with a T, surely you have a few million to spend on some so-called activists to go out there and lobby for it. Cost of doing business, right? It ain't that much. Spend about $2-3 million and you can get $5.5 trillion on the back. Great investment from my point of view. You got the mainstream media in your pocket. They'll push the agenda. You have the so-called leftist activists. You got online influencers, all these people that are trying to push the moderate Democrats to get this bill on the books. Now, why is it so important? As I said before, you have things for illegal aliens in there, amnesty, you got climate change in there. You have probably a bunch of industries that funded these politicians, like your Bernie Sanders, AOC, everybody else. You have things in there that will pay back those that put them in office. You got a big donation from XYZ Corporation in this trillion-page almost Build Back Better deal. There could be provision in there for that particular business, right? There's a lot of things wrapped up in it. There's a lot on the line when it comes to this. Now, are they going to be able to get it done? I doubt it. If you couldn't get the 1.2, how are you going to get 3.5? And does the 3.5 include the original 1.2? I don't know. If you guys know, let me know in the comments. But I really don't see it happening. And I don't think these tactics do anything to convince anyone. Maybe if you think it's the right thing to do, as Joe Biden was saying, you know, he didn't say it was right. He said it was, he doesn't approve of it, but it's part of the process, right? You got to expect it when you are in politics and it's not really a big deal. You just got to expect it. Like January 6th, right? You got to expect protesters and whatnot to run up on you, chase you in the bathroom, things like that. So if it's to be expected, it's part of the process, and you're not treating it like it's a big deal, then why is anybody locked up right now that was at the January 6th thing? Why are some guys and girls on no-fly list who just happen to be in D.C. on January 6th, right? That's just my question, because running somebody in the bathroom stall, recording them, number one, it's job illegal in Arizona to do that, but also it's dangerous, it's intimidating. And if I'm on a yacht minding my business and you rolling up on me in a kayak and you screeching at me, I don't want that. Can I just chill on my boat and without you being here? Can I go in the bathroom and go number two without you trying to put a cell phone over my bathroom stall? I mean, what are we really doing here? But again, when there's big money, 3.5 to 5.5 trillion, when there's big money on the line, things like this are going to happen. That's just kind of the long and short. But we'll see how it's handled in the mainstream media. It's big time double standard. When the right does that to the left, or when they appear to do that to the left, then it's the worst thing in the world, worse than 9/11 and everything else. But when the left does it to the right, it's no big deal. It'll barely get media coverage. So we know double standards do exist, and we know that sometimes things are exaggerated that aren't anywhere near as bad as what they seem. Because if they were as bad as what they seem, then it will always be that way, not just sometimes. But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? How do you feel about these videos of Kyrsten Sinema and Joe Manchin being harassed by these so-called protesters? Whatever your thoughts on that are, let me know in the comments below. You guys pretty much know where I stand. I think that this is a big time double standard from the left to the right, vice versa. The left can do anything they want to even another leftist if the majority of leftists think that it is appropriate. But when the right does anything to the left, it doesn't matter if it's appropriate, inappropriate, whatever. It'd be judged as the worst thing that ever happened in the history of planet Earth. Worse than slavery, worse than the Holocaust, worse than 9/11, worse than anything, because of the exaggeration by the mainstream media, by the political class. It's very simple and obvious to see, but whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.